I was driving my 2001 True Blue Bullitt around a certain neighborhood just for fun one day when I came around a corner and saw a black 2001 Mustang Bullitt sitting in the driveway. I got out of the car and I left mine running because the cams chopped really hard, really loud, thinking that the guy pulling weeds in his side yard would be interested in a car that looked almost the same as his. I walked up to him to talk about the cars, and he looked very puzzled of why I'd be talking to him. And I asked him if that was his 2001 black Mustang Bullitt in the driveway, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's my car." And we got talking about the car, and it turns out he had bought it at a dealership in town, and right now the car is going to be sitting outside because he bought a Corvette, and the Corvette's in the garage, so the Bullitt got kicked out into the driveway. So I looked over the car, and I didn't take very many pictures of it because, it was kind of awkward standing there talking to him, and I didn't want to have to explain to him that I wanted to take pictures of the car. But as we got to talking, I realized that this car used to belong to my friend's grandpa. My friend's grandpa, back in about 2006, was really interested in Mustang Bullets. And it's really funny because I've done the story about the Dark Highland green Bullitt that I knew growing up, the first Bullitt I'd ever saw, the first Mustang I ever rode in, very important car to me. It was in the same neighborhood that my friend's grandparents lived in as well. We all lived in the same area. And I could actually see my friend's grandparents' house from my street. It was very close. We lived very close to each other, and for years, I didn't even know that my friend's grandparents owned the car because I had moved away. This is the house that I grew up in with my parents. I had moved away, and I came back and I saw a black Bullitt going down the road, and I couldn't believe I had seen another black Bullitt. I thought it was my cousin's black Bullitt at first, but it still had the stock wheels. It didn't have a chin spoiler and things that my cousin had added to his. Of course, the exhaust. It didn't have the SLP exhaust. It still had the stock catback and everything. And so I knew there was another Bullitt in town, and I had seen it parked at a restaurant even before I bought my Bullitt. I saw it parked at a restaurant. I looked it over and thought, man, this is such a beautiful car. I'd love to have one of these one day. And so it turns out that my friend's grandpa has a son who is into cars, selling and buying in California, and my friend's grandmother told the son that she really wanted to buy a Mustang Bullitt for her husband. And this is all because of the green Bullitt that I was talking about that lived in our neighborhood. The grandpa had told his wife that he really liked that car as they had driven past it a few times, and so she had told the son, look for a Bullitt. My husband really wants one. And he started looking around and he found this car. Now this car was a very low mile, beautiful condition car in California. It had magazine articles written about it. It was featured in a magazine. It had a whole bunch of documentation, and the son decided to go ahead and buy this car for the grandpa. Of course, the grandma reimbursed him, but they bought that car, and it went into the garage just down the street from my house, and I had no idea about it because it didn't go out much. So when I found out, I went over to the house and I looked in the garage door windows, and there it was, black Bullitt Mustang. So I took my Bullitt over when I had it, and I showed him, and we got to talking cars, and he really liked the car, but I don't think he was incredibly enthusiastic about it. It was just something cool for him to have. So flash forward now to when I come around the corner and I see this black Bullitt in the driveway. I get over there and I start talking to the guy about it, and he tells me it was traded in at the Findlay dealership here in town, at the Hyundai dealership. And I later went and asked my friend's grandparents, and they said, yeah, they took it in and traded it there at Findlay. So it's really too bad because as the car was sitting there, I looked it over and it was still in great shape, but the hood scoop was completely peeling on it and the headlights were glazed over, and I don't know how long the car had been sitting out, but it was really starting to show its age. And this car was one of the most pristine, beautiful cars I had ever seen. I think when he had it, the grandparents, it had 20,000 miles on it. Now it had like 40 something thousand, and it's getting some sun damage. So the guy had told me that he was interested in selling it. He has the Corvette now. And then he led into telling me about how important this car is and how valuable it is, and that he probably would want to get $10,000 or $12,000 out of it. And so at that point, I didn't have much interest in buying the car. I already had so many Mustangs, and adding another one at a high price like that is just really not in the game for me right now. So I turned down any request of asking him to sell me the car. I did keep an eye out for it on Craigslist to see if it ever popped up, but it never did. And so the funny thing was, my cousin lived just a few blocks away renting a house, and he had his black Bullitt there too. So those two cars were very close to each other. Well, anyway, I went past this house the other day, and there's a for sale sign in the yard, and the cars are all gone. So whoever that guy was, he sold the car, or he took it with him and they moved away. I've never seen the car since. But anyway, just thought I'd share this story about a cool 2001 black Mustang Bullitt. If anybody owns this car, put it in the comments. Thanks for watching the videos. Remember to check out all the videos in the playlist. I have several stories like this, and I'm making more. So watch through them, enjoy them, get some popcorn and a drink, and sit back and watch this like your favorite TV show. Thanks for watching.